Hi, everyone. Let me know when you're here. Last minute technical difficulties. I was 1 minute late. Please forgive me. So my microphone wasn't plugged in. Say hi. Let me know when you're here. Um, it's Friday morning, very different from my normal Thursday evening live stream, and here come all my dogs. I didn't put them in the kennel, and so I have the chocolate lab on one side in the little dog's bed, and here comes Koopy. Click, click, click. He's the little red dachshund. The other dachshund's in the kennel. He tweaked his back this week. Say hi, Koopy. Koopy had to come say hi. Say hi, Koopy. So let me know if you're here. We might not have very many people at all, but I'm so excited. I'm introducing Alex Siberia's newest collection. It's her December collection. And so we are celebrating today. I could put my face on here. Oh, now Hagrid's jealous. Let's see if it's going to work. Oh, let's do it this way. So, oh my goodness, I kind of scare myself this early in the morning. Can you hear me? If you're on, let me know you're here. Say hi, tell me your name. Um, we are celebrating with a blog hop today, and there are giveaways from Alex Syberia. I'm going to do a giveaway, and I apologize, I didn't go down. All my stuff is in storage in the basement, and I forgot to go grab it, but I am doing a giveaway if we have anybody on. Make sure that you let me know you're here for the giveaway. But Alex is doing a giveaway also for the blog hop. Go to Alex Syberia Designs, or you can click any of my links there and go to my blog page, and the whole list of the blog is there, and you can hop along and leave a kind comment for all the designers. And Alex is doing a giveaway, and you'll be entered to win if the more comments that you leave. I think four different winners, I think I remember correctly. $15 gift certificate to Alex Syberia. So thank you, Alex. And I'm so excited to introduce this December collection to you. I had so much fun. I don't know why my little thing is not working. It might not. Let's do this. Here we go. There. So forgive me. It's a Friday morning. I'm a little slow and rusty this morning. I didn't go live last night, but we have this amazing collection. I'm so excited to share my makes with you, and my favorite artist markers. And that's how I created this card. I just thought, I don't normally pull them out. Okay, and a little teaser here. I don't normally pull them out very often. They sit back there, look really pretty on my shelf, but I pulled them out, and every time I pull them out, I'm always amazed at how much I love them. And I always think, why don't I use these more often? So I thought I would share them with you, and it's how I created this card. I honestly think these markers, they're the Zig twin tip markers. And these are the colors that I used. And this is what they look like. They are, just like it says, Zig Art Graphic Twin Markers. One end is like a brush nib. And so if you're a calligrapher, or you like to do handwriting and things like that, the brush nib is really great. They're really juicy. I bought these. No one sent these to me. I've had these for several years. I know at least 5, and they are still just as juicy, I have to say, as when I got them, because I've had other water-based. Hi, Eileen. How are you? I've had other art markers that are similar to this. Not, I normally don't mention any names, especially if I don't have anything nice to say. And they dried out, and I literally threw them all away. These markers I've had for over 5 years, never dried out. So there's the brush nib on one end, and then there is the kind of fine, it's not really a fine point, but it's a smaller nib, and it's not a brush. So it's a little bit firmer. And so it's a twin tip. These are water-based markers. So they are water reactive, and you can do a lot of the kind of watercoloring looks and things like that with them. They also blend beautifully together, but these are not an alcohol-based marker like Copic, Olos, things like that. These are a water-based dye marker, so they work differently. But I have to tell you, I like my Copics, you know, Copic coloring is not my favorite thing to do, but these, every time I use them, I get so excited. And so that's how I created this card right here. And I loved it so much that I thought I might share these markers, especially because it's holiday time. And if you were looking for a new crafty kind of art goodie that you needed to ask for, I think these are a great gift. And you can get them lots of different places. I do have a link with my affiliate link on the supplies list in all of the description below. And just so you know, if you're so inclined to go shopping, Alex gave me a special discount code. Oh, thank you, Eileen. Eileen, you're my only person on right now, so you might be while we're on. And I'm doing a giveaway, so stick with me. Um, what was I saying? Alex set up a special discount code for us also. So a 10% shopping discount code. And I believe it's capital letters Erin _10. And you get 10% off the new release if you go shopping today. So that was very kind of her to do that for all of my followers. And so, but that, if you forget the code, it is all down there in the description. Hit more and everything will come up. I know, right, Eileen? So, like, I love all these cards that I did. So let's do a quick preview of the new products. And Eileen, if you weren't on, just so you know, there's a blog hop going on and there's chances to win gift certificates from Alex also. So go to my blog, everydayexp.com, and the whole list is there. You can hop along and leave comments too. So let's talk about the new release before we talk about my markers and how to create these cards. And isn't that so pretty? Layering stencils. Every time I use good layering stencils, it reminds me why they're so easy to use, right? So let's get into this. Here we go. This is called the Lovely Day stamp set, and it's just a line art, little bit smaller flowers, really pretty font for the couple of sentiments. It's a 4x6 set. It's called Lovely Day. It's got coordinating dies, and it is what I used on this one. Super simple, no coloring involved. Look, I just heat embossed it using Wow. I know, Eileen, aren't they fantastic? I used Wow embossing powder and like a little blend I made myself so it has sparkle in it. And that's all I did here. And so remember, we can use just the line art stamps and there's no coloring needed at all. So I've used that one. That's the Lovely Day with the stamps and the dies. Made it super easy, right? And then on this one also, look at this. If you email me, probably 99% of the time, I always say hugs or big hugs. And I love that Alex released a sentiment that is hugs and hello. And so you get both of them. And look, they're layering. So you get the word along with the sentiment kind of shadow. The heat embossing makes the colors pop. I know, thank you, they do. And so there it is. And look, I have had my Lisa Horton inks. This is another new favorite of mine, I have to say, and the link is also on there. But these are the Cloud 9 metallic pigment inks. But here's what's different about these. These Lisa Horton metallic pigment inks, Cloud 9, are actually, they're pigment, but are you ready for this? And we know pigment is normally an oil-based, sits on top of the card stock. It's normally water resistant. These pigment inks are highly water reactive. I don't even know what to think about that because it's totally not what we think of when we think of pigment inks, but they are pigment. They are metallic, so they have that really pretty shimmer. Can you see it here on the hugs? I used a little bit of the silver. I know, aren't they cool? They are water reactive, and I used these inks also on the background and to add a little bit of ombre shimmer right there to the hugs. But they're water reactive. Can you see like the water droplets? I did go back and ink back over, so it's not as defined as it might normally be. Highly water reactive. So blowing my mind, but this is the second time I've used these. And there's another Alex Syberia. I think the previous video I did, I used these. And so you can see more of a video about them and some techniques there. But any of the water techniques, dribbling the water, lifting it. Hi, Jennifer. How are you? I know, I just love these. So this might be another, did you use a brush or a dauber to apply? I always use brushes. Very rarely do I use daubers anymore. Daubers are just not my jam. I use brushes 99.9% of the time. Daubers will also catch on a stencil because of the foam, and they might hurt your stencil. They'll ruin the foam. And so I just find it easier. Brushes are my thing. I know how to use them perfectly. And that's just what I use now. I use minis. I use details. I use bigger blending brushes. And and I'm glad you asked that. When you ask about a brush, when you're using different types of inks, especially one that says pigment. Let's talk about inks for a minute. I'm glad you asked that. That's an important point to make because this was on my mind. When you use, let's say, I've got my Catherine Pooler inks here, right? Let me pull one more. Let's talk about something. Let's talk about oxides. Let's do a real quick ink lesson because it's so very important, okay? Inks, probably the number one thing. Man, I need to do a whole video on inks. I do, and I know it. You have to know your inks, okay? You have to know how they perform, what they're made of, and the type of papers they'll work on, but also what you can and cannot use with them, okay? So, here's the thing. These, like I said, I have not done a deep dive, and lots of times I do. I like to do my research. I don't know exactly what these are made of because they do say they are a metallic pigment ink, but these are a dye-based pigment ink versus I'm guessing there's some sort of water base, but normally when we hear the word pigment, it's an oil base, and you never, ever, ever want to mix an oil-based pigment ink with a water-based dye ink. You don't want to cross-contaminate your brushes because then you'll cross-contaminate your ink pads, and it's no bueno. And so as I was using these, I thought, okay, I don't know what these are made of, but mental note, I actually ordered a new set of blending brushes to use with just these inks because I love them that much, and I know I'm going to be using them and maybe buying any other colors that are out there. I don't want to cross-contaminate blending brushes with a water-based dye ink or even anything else that I don't know how it should work like that. Yes, so do not cross-contaminate. So anytime I use these, like I already have, I tried to only use brushes that I had not used for anything else, and then I set them aside. So even that's why the colors don't match, because I had to order new brushes. So these are set aside so that I know I'm not going to use them with anything else. And so keep that in mind when you're using inks. Catherine Pooler inks are a water-based dye ink. Okay, they're water-based. So I know I could use the brushes that I use with Catherine Pooler if I wasn't worried about mixing colors. As long as I'm using another water-based dye ink from another company, I'd be okay. It won't ruin the ink pads. It might change the color, so you have to keep that in mind, and it's going to change the color of your brushes, but it's not going to ruin anything. So water-based is okay with water-based, but pigment and water-based, I would not mix. Also, because this has a metallic in it, you're going to add a metallic, not that I think that would be a bad thing, to other inks, and you don't want to do that. The other thing is like distress oxides, and Tim Holtz will tell you, he either cleans his brushes very, very well in between using oxides and regular distress ink, which is a water-based dye ink. These are a hybrid ink. So do not cross contaminate, and you would not want to use brushes from oxides. And then I would not put them into my distress ink pad, and Tim will tell you that, or into another water-based dye ink like a Catherine Pooler, any of the ones, Concord and Ninth, any of the ones that are a water-based dye ink, Pink Fresh, Simon Says, you know, the scrapbook.com water-based dye inks, whatever you use. Don't mix an oxide with that, and don't even put it into your distress ink. Finally, we have VersaFine Clear. I've heard different information about these. These are considered it says pigment ink. Supposedly it is a hybrid pigment ink. It is water resistant. That's all I need to know. Even though I've argued with people, I've had other people argue with me that supposedly you can use this with Copic markers, which I never use a pigment ink with Copic markers. And I would not cross-contaminate this ink with a water-based dye ink because it still says it's a pigment ink. It's a different kind of formula, and it is water resistant. If you use brushes on pigment inks, something like that, and then you use them in a water-based dye ink pad, especially the foam ink pads, it will cross-contaminate and end up ruining them. So that's also good to know if you use an embossing ink on a stamp, and then you're going to use a water-based dye ink over top of that stamp. Make sure you clean it well. I'm doing a much better job of trying to be mindful of cleaning things for that very reason. If you know me, I'm not like a huge cleaner. I love my VersaFine and my VersaFine Clear also, Eileen, because it gives the nicest, crispest, I think, sentiment out there. So real quick ink, tutorial there. Things to keep in mind. Talking about these inks, I purchased a separate set of brushes just for these inks, and they just aren't here yet. So I will be keeping them separate. Let me put these inks away, and we'll get back to crafting. But I think that's a teachable moment. Thank you for asking that question. And I think it's very, very important that we're always kind of reinforcing the idea of everybody always has those questions, and the black inks are just the same. So many things you need to know about black inks, and I got to do these video series like Card Making Basics 101, right? Just a video on inks and the different kinds of inks and black inks, right? Just like 10 minutes or less. So I'm going to take a drink of coffee. Eileen's asking how I clean my stamps. There's another. Well, I'll be honest, Eileen, 99% of the time, I'm not the best about cleaning them. My stamps can be really nasty. However, I'm doing a better job, and I didn't go wet this. This is a stamp chamois. Go watch my very last, did you see my last video on, hi Francis, how are you? Thank you. Go watch my very last, I'm trying not to point, I do this all the time. Go watch my last video. It's about how to get the perfect sentiment stamp every single time. And I talk about how you should clean your stamps, especially your sentiment stamps. Basically, I do this in the video, like, don't do this. Don't use even a microfiber towel. Don't use, even if it says it's a lint-free towel. Do not use paper towels, and I no longer use baby wipes to clean I used to use the 99.9% water baby wipes. I do not use those anymore. They leave microfibers on your stamp because, I mean, it's an abrasive surface, right? You're rubbing it across. It leaves these microfine hairs that then you stamp your sentiment, and you're like, why am I getting these little tiny lines? Because at first, I'll be honest, my own stamps that I produce, I thought maybe there was something wrong with the stamp. It was because I had cleaned the sentiment stamp with a baby wipe or one of these microfiber towels, and it had left all those little microfibers. So invest in some stamp chamois. These are from scrapbook.com. I love them. Gina K has one. I had one for years from Lawn Fawn. And this one's wet. I need to wet it. I didn't wet it for today. Yes, they pretty much are, because Eileen, a very good quality photopolymer stamp will stain, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's okay. Nobody cares, right? Nobody else sees it. My husband stamped sentiments for me that came in when we were testing them, getting ready for the holiday kit release. And I was like, oh, stamp those out for me. He happened to grab a purple, a vibrant Catherine Pooler Queen for a Day. I'm getting my stamp chamois wet because since I don't want to leave the screen to go wet it. He used Queen for a Day and it stained my brand new stamps, and I was like, oh man, I was so upset. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because that's a good quality stamp, and it will stamp like your sticky mat, things like that. And so certain dye inks will stain a photopolymer stamp. They just do, and there's nothing we can do about it, and it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But invest in these stamp chamois. Okay, I need to add these to my supplies list. And you just have to wet it underwater. And most of the time, yeah, they are. It depends on the ink, and it depends. And a good photopolymer stamp will stain, period. Um, you need a couple of these and use these. I use these for everything now. Now, I will tell you, I also have one that I'm trying to use to clean things like pigment inks and like embossing ink because they're oily. So I'm trying to keep a color coded one. This one is for my regular stamp water-based dye inks. And then I have a blue one somewhere, might be packed away, that is for embossing ink and things like pigment inks. So there's once again, no cross contamination. I'm getting a nice clean. Also, you can use most of the time is if it's a water-based dye ink, it's water and my stamp chamois. If I really think there's like, especially a pigment ink or these metallic inks, or there's something I can't get off, last resort, I will use, oh, that's water. I will use a stamp cleaner. And I think mine is Hero Art still. I have a great big jug that will last me a long time because I don't use it very often because it's kind of oily, which it's got glycerin in it is what I think. What's your take on the press plates and stamps? Do you prefer one over the other? We'll talk about that, Francis. We're going down all these rabbit holes, but I love it. So stamp cleaner, I think it has glycerin in it, and that is good to condition your photopolymer stamps. So every once in a while, use it. But I also find, when you spray it on there, it will leave that, you can't always get it all off. And so sometimes it'll leave a little bit of residue, and I will stamp the stamp off a few times to make sure that there's no like droplets in the grooves of the stamp that then transfer to my paper. If I'm going to clean it and then use it right away again, stamp it off a couple times just to make sure it's dry and there's no residue or oiliness that's going to transfer from that glycerin. But glycerin is not a bad thing for your photopolymer stamps. A little bit in cleaners helps condition it so they don't crack if you're going to keep your stamps as an investment over the years. Okay, press, place, and stamps. Let's start crafting, and then we'll talk about this. Because as owning my own company now and designing my own products, yes, glycerin is most of the time. I can't vouch for all companies, but I know that's what I think. I know it's in some products. That's what gives it that oily feel, is glycerin. It's, a natural product that is safe even for your skin, and it conditions your stamps. So we'll talk about press plates and stamps. And of course, this is just going to be my opinion, but let's get started actually doing some crafting. These are press plates for this with the foil. Well, it's not, I take it back. There's a difference. There are press plates, there are foiling plates, and then you have your stamps and your dies and things like that. Yes, I know glycerin. Good ones like Hero Arts and things, I think that they have some glycerin. So anyway, this is a foiling plate, a hot foil plate. There's a difference between press plates and hot foiling, even though you can use your hot foiling, or wait a minute, you can use press plates to also hot foil. Do I know 100% if you can use foiling plates as press plates? I think, but I don't know. I've never tried it. So it's just like, there's so much out there. It's no wonder everybody gets confused, right? Okay, but let's go ahead and let's talk about this one. And let's do the preview. I never finished the preview for all of Alex's gorgeous products. And we don't have a set time we have to finish today, so I could just yammer on, which I do, but normally I try to end in an hour. But hello and hugs. Love this layering set. And you saw it. What did I do with my cards already? Oh, here they are. And we're going to talk about this. I want to die cut this so you see it. It's 2 layers. You have the actual letters, but here's what I love. When you cut this, it's all connected. So I'm not figuring out where these letters go, getting them straight. It stays connected, all because of this genius design of the letters connecting and this tail. Love it. Love it. Love it. Oh, thank you. Yes. Always remember your white space for glowing. I talk about white space in my art all the time. Shadows and white space. And white space, lots of people think the shadows are the most important thing for creating drama in kind of cards and scenes. White space is 100% as important as the dark space. They are equally important. Abstract background stamp. Yes, I have it. And that's what we're going to talk about. This is the new, because it was so well loved, but Alex is smart because not everybody has the better press system or foiling plates. She released it because it's gorgeous as a background stamp. So if you do not have a hot foil machine or a press plate or a better press system, you can just buy the stamp. And I think that's genius. It's been on my mind for my own company. So there are also coordinating dies for all the sentiments. If you know me, you know I love a good die cut sentiment. And this is a full, it's much bigger. I don't know if I have a ruler right here, than just an A2 size background, but I don't have a ruler right here. It's in at my shipping station. So that is the abstract background stamp. This coordinates, as Francis said, with the previously, look how dirty my, oh, wrong stencils. With the previously released, I think it was a press plate, abstract background press plate with the layering coloring stencils. And look how cool it is. And that's how I created this card. I used the stencils for this. And yes, the stencils coordinate perfectly with this background stamp. So if you got these previously, they coordinate perfectly. And so, and I know because I pulled them out and I tried it. And so there you go. You're welcome. Yes, they do. So thank you, Alex. That's smart. If you do not have the better press system, you can use a background stamp and the stencils coordinate. I know, Eileen, I love that one too. I have to say, you know, it's probably my favorite suite of 2025 was the Art Deco, because I am in love with Art Deco. And you know, for me, you're probably going to see a lot more of that coming soon. Would you mind sharing which colors? Absolutely, Francis. For this, we talked about the Lisa Horton inks. I used Ultraviolet, Coastline, and Love Struck. And real quick, a lesson on the color wheel. Why do I choose these colors? Because they're all analogous, which means they're right next to each other on the color wheel. You can never, ever, ever go wrong, right? Because we've got blue and we've got red, or, you know, berry color, and purple is made out of these two colors. They're all together next to each other on the color wheel. You'll never go wrong with analogous colors. Yellow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, anything next to each other on the color wheel looks fantastic. No worries at all. I'm glad you made it. And we're doing a giveaway too. So don't forget, I wish I had gone to get it, but I didn't. But I'll tell you about it. And so stick with me. We're going to do a giveaway. But the giveaway, you know what we'll do? We'll do 2 giveaways today. How about that? And it'll be Alex Syberia products from the 2025 Nashville Craft Retreat. And we'll do, I think I've got 2. And if I don't, I'll substitute, because I've got 2024 Alex Syberia. Alex Syberia has been a super sponsor for my big annual craft retreat, the Nashville Craft Retreat. She has been a super sponsor, like, I think the last 3 years, and for 23, 24, and 25. And I'll be honest, I told her I didn't want to wear you out and ask you again for 2026 because I absolutely adore Alex Syberia. So I have all kinds of Alex Syberia products from the last 3 retreats that we always have some extras just in case something happens. And so I'll do 2 giveaways. Here's what we'll do. We'll do 1 giveaway for anybody that's on here during my live. And you never know when I'm going to pull the number or the name. And then we'll do one later. We'll let it run for a few days and for comments that people leave and on the video. And we'll do another giveaway. I wish I had thought to go downstairs. They're all downstairs. I know I have some of the beautiful butterflies and they are in Alex's store from a release just a few months ago. I've got some floral stamps with coordinating stencils and dies. And I think I may even I might have some beautiful poinsettias from a couple years ago that she designed just for us at the Nashville Craft Retreat. But I'll have to see. I'm not going to guarantee exactly what you're going to get, but it will be Alex Syberia. And if I'm really lucky, we have instructions for creating, I will even send you the instructions for the 3 projects we created at the Nashville Craft Retreat as a little bonus add in, I might even have a whole kit. So we'll see. I know I have the products. We'll see if I have a whole kit, and you never know what you're going to get. Okay. So that's how I created that one. It's with the abstract background, stamp and stencils. Okay. And as I said previously, or Francis said, there's the press plate, and the stencils will now coordinate from that with that. Okay, we talked about this beautiful, lovely day with the coordinating dies. We talked about the hello and hugs, and I'll die cut these for you so you see them. I know Francis, I love to do giveaways. And believe me, we have lots of stuff left over from previous year's Nashville Craft Retreat. Francis, tell me, are you a Francis I know or are you new? Let me know because sometimes I'm not sure. And I know several Francises. So let me know. Are you the Francis I know or are you new? Just let me know. Okay, sorry. And don't forget the discount code if you're shopping with Alex, it's capital letters Erin_10, and you can get 10% off as a very special discount Alex sent for me today. Okay. Can we talk about this gorgeous die? The delicate frame and front. Oh, yay. Well, Francis, I'm glad you joined me today. That makes it extra special. Thank you so much. Check out this delicate frame and friend background die. It perfectly fits. Ooh, I'm glad you're here with us. Look, it perfectly fits an A2 size card. This is an exact 4¼ by 5½ A2 size card. And that's how you see, look at that beautiful, delicate die. And it cuts out the middle. So you could even pop up that frame. You have it to use. And the friend die is another die that's similar to this style that Alex did. Love it. Look at how pretty this little tail goes on this R, and then the eyes popped up. That's good designing. And so I did use vellum. I now have vellum in my store. Well, it's not in there. I need to get it in there. I think vellum is very hard to find good quality vellum now. I used to always use basil and the company was sold, and now I can't find it. It was a very heavy weight. So I have 2 new weights that I've tried, and this is the first time I've used it. Look how pretty. It's a very kind of translucent but white. Some vellums will have a hint of yellow or gray, and this one, when you get it on your card, it's a very pretty, nice white. And so this vellum will actually be in the My Pretty Things store. And I have 2 weights because I think you want different weights at different times. Sometimes you want it much more translucent, like transparent, like this one. This is the 30-pound. And then I have another one that's much heavier because I love a good heavyweight vellum. And so you'll have to look for that in the store, Eileen. I'll try to get that in there. Since you're such a super shopper, and I appreciate you. Beautiful vellums. Yes. I love a good vellum. And look, you can still see that beautiful clematis through it. So you get the friend die with this background die. Love this. It's gorgeous. And look how detailed. Look at the little detail. That is gorgeous. And you'll find when it came out of the die that it didn't rip, and you'll see it, and maybe I'll do it for you. Let's move on. Here's the clematis. This is a big die set. This is a full A2 size, almost A2 size panel. You know, this is how big it is right here. So it's almost an A2 size. So then Alex added on the extra pieces that you can layer. Look, can you see it? Look, it gives it dimension. So your card has all this beautiful dimension and you can pop it up. And I have some tips for using that. And so that's why I wanted to share some tips on how to create this card, because it actually is easier than you think. But isn't that pretty? And if you look, I didn't add the extra flowers on here to show you, you don't have to. But if you want to, because you're all about popping things up like I am, look how pretty adding some of those extra layers look. But you don't have to. If you don't want to do that extra work, you don't have to. So this is called the Clematis die set, and it's big. And Alex has the instructions right here at the bottom on how to layer them up. But I have to tell you, being honest, there are layers added on here that I found you didn't need to go to the trouble. If you really want a dramatic, different effect, you can. But for me in Fiddly Bits, I realized I probably won't use them that much, and that's fine. Love the dimension you gave the flowers. Did you watercolor? I'm going to show you how I did it, Francis, in just a second. We're going to talk about it, and you're going to be amazed. So here's my first hint. If you don't have a lot of time and you're not all about the Fiddly Bits, you do not even have to use these extra little layering pieces like these. Honestly, I use the middle, and then I would use the big ones to die cut, you know, the special flowers to pop. But these Fiddly Bits, I'm probably not going to use these unless I wanted a very dramatic difference in them. But you probably can't even tell which ones have it and which ones do not, because I didn't use them on all of them. And I'm just not about those little fiddly ones. I'm going to show you that too. We're going to talk about this card, okay? And then one more for this pretty slimline card. This was where I used the foiling plate of the minimalist flowers. Okay, aren't these pretty? I foiled these on the glimmer. Okay, I get the Better Press and the Glimmer. They're two different machines. That's why all these machines are killing me. This is the Glimmer machine to foil. But are these press plates? But these are press plates also. So you can use your press plate system to also press. Are you confused? Because I even confused myself. But if you know, you know. If you've done press plates and you've done foiling, you know press plates will do both, okay? But you have to have the Glimmer system to do the foiling, right? And then the Better Press is a different system. Ask for it for Christmas. If you don't have it, they are a little bit more expensive, but a lot of companies have them. I probably will not be releasing anything for my company anytime soon for press plates, but Alex has beautiful ones. Go look at her Spellbinders ones with the Asian style dolls. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. So she does beautiful press plates. You can also use ink on these. They do a beautiful job inking and even embossing ink to emboss. Go watch one of my other videos on it, okay? Seriously, Eileen, I do need to do a reference sheet. But these also have layering stencils. And look how gorgeous. Look, with the foiling and the inking, I used my Catherine Puller inks. These, look, add in some interest with just foiling. Can you see it? The shine, you might not be able to. With just lines so I did it twice. I did it with one kind of foil that had like an opalescent look, and this one had a sparkly look. And I just inked these, and they're all in one group, and the stencils make it super, super easy. I haven't rinsed mine yet. I think there's 4 stencils. Alex's are real nice quality too. Hi, I have someone new. I have to get both my machines out and play. I know, and I have to tell you, oh, is it Tony? It's Tony. Hi, Tony. If you know me, I've told this story before. My Glimmer machine was in the cabinet for like 6 years, maybe 5 years before I pulled it out. Let's see, use special paper for the Better Press. Both. I actually bought the cotton Better Press paper And I think it was nice. I don't remember if I've used it or not. I think I did, and it was nice. But I also use a really heavyweight, beautiful, bright white cardstock that I have in my store that I love. And so I've used both. You know, you want, there's Tony, it is. Hi, Tony. I missed you in November at the crop. I hate that you weren't there. Um, you need a really smooth, beautiful, the smoother you can get, the better paper for the glimmer machine to get your good foiling. Are we ready to move on? I have yammered, but I wanted to make sure I introduced. Let's talk about this gorgeous card. First of all, this is where your paper comes into play. You need, I'm using Bristol Strathmore Smooth paper. And I love Bristol Smooth. It's a mixed media paper. And it kind of has a coating on it, and we will get that code fixed. I'll have to notify Alex if for some reason it's not working. It is in the description. Try to make sure you copy it and see if that works. I don't know. We'll have to see. Let me contact Alex in a little bit and see if we can get that working, if it's not working. Bristol Smooth mixed media cardstock. It has a little bit of a coating on it. And I find that things like these zig markers, and if you're watercoloring, it kind of makes it user friendly. Okay. So start with this paper, especially with the water-based markers that you're going to be using kind of water effects on. Here is the plate, okay? Full A2 size. We're going to put this on here. Let's run it through the die machine. Okay. Itchy nose, sorry. Don't know what's going on. And for right now, I'm not going to use the extra pieces just because we don't have a lot of time. But I will have to, we will cut out the middles for sure, just because you need that look. Okay, are you ready? Look, now I wonder, you know what? Let me run it through one more time. I think I only ran it through one time and when I made my cards. So don't think that there's never anything wrong with the die that you have to run through twice. I just like to do it just to be, I want to save my paper and not mess it up, right? So let's pull this off. Alex's dies are very detailed and they're beautiful. Look how pretty that is. Now, I'm going to leave it in there because I think it's easier to color when it's kind of in that background. You don't have to. I'm going to kind of peel it up this way. I'm bending my magnetic shim because I want to make sure that on the back, it's totally die cut out and there's no weak spots. But yeah, it'll come out perfectly when I'm ready because I wouldn't want to color it and then have it not come out. But I think for a technique like this coloring, it's easier to leave it in that background as kind of its own jig. And I'm going to use my Altenew stamp wheel. If you follow me lately, you see me using this a lot. And Ricardo, he was down here and now he's gone again. I need to make sure I'm not using, I only use water 99% of the time to clean my pad, and I'm starting to run out. I might have to run and fill my water bottle up in my stamp chamois. If I hear him back in the kitchen, I'll grab him. And once again, I will use my stamp chamois to clean my because this is photopolymer. And Eileen, we talked about staining. Look at that. That's what good photopolymer does. So I love my stamp wheel. Partly, here's another thing for Christmas. You need something. It took me a long time to really, if you know me, I won't promote something until I'm really certain that I like it. And I used the stamp wheel. This is the 2.0, the new one, for a long time. And then I dry it. See, like this. Don't dry it with a rag or anything like that. I actually need to go wash it. It's got a residue on it. I don't know what I used. I may have used a microfiber towel. And the way you clean these is go put a little bit of gentle soap on it. run it under water, kind of clean it with that gentle liquid soap, and then dry it, and it should be sticky all over again. So I'm going to dry it without running a towel on it. I use my stamp chamois to clean it with just water. Okay, and it stays pretty sticky. It's not as sticky as it normally would be because I need to wash it. But let it dry so your paper doesn't get wet. And then we are going to put our paper back in here. Okay. And I'm going to stick it down. And when you have a photopolymer mat that maybe is losing a little bit of its stickiness, use your bone folder to just kind of go around on your paper. And I can even use it over my die cut because I want this to stick down into my little jig that I created with, don't ruin your die cut. We're just pushing it back down. Don't push too hard. You don't want to lose any of the detail of that fine die cut. Let's get this zoomed in. By the way, you know what? Y'all remind me that I need to tell Ricardo, remind him for Christmas, I want a side camera. Wouldn't that be cool? Because then it comes in from the side, and if I'm coloring, my hand won't block it. Been telling him I want one, and I don't think they're very expensive. So he's been asking me, what do I want for Christmas? And there is one thing that I want, but I want a side camera too. Okay, so these are my Zig twin tip art markers. Love these. Going to put those to the side. We're going to use we're going to use sugared almond pink, peach pink, and dark pink. I will tell you, these are very saturated in color, like a regular dye-based ink. And I like to start with the light color and blend the darker colors in. Or, I don't know, we could try something else, see how it goes. But I just tend to put a base down and then blend from there because these are so saturated, you don't need a lot. It's going to overpower everything. And what did I tell you earlier? We need our lights and our darks. We need that white space. And we don't want every single color to be exactly the same. So some we want lighter and some we want darker, just like in nature, right? But we need to maintain some of this beautiful white space. So I won't even take my pink, and I like my brush nib. And I did learn from looking at Alex's kind of thing. I colored these wrong at first. She has the base of these flowers as part of the dark under kind of cup of the flower. So, and you have to look at it a little bit to make sure. But the nice thing is, in a good die, she's got these little cut lines. So you know exactly. But I'm going to, and watch how easy this is. Watch. I do flicks just like you do with Copics, but you don't have to. And then you have to watch because we have some leaves going different directions. And I'm not taking it all the way to the tips, okay? And that's a green leaf. And that's where sometimes it gets tricky. And these are going to be little buds. So look how easy this is with these markers. I'm just going to do all the buds right now. And I don't know if you can see how juicy they are. There's a lot of ink coming out of these. Now, the only thing I would say is, especially with these markers, your paper stays wet longer. So I'm being very careful of not putting my hand on my paper because I'm going to smear it. Sometimes I need to be a little bit more careful, but because I don't really want to go in the green. But look how easy this is. And I'm telling you, it might look sloppy right now, but it won't be. But look how, you see this lid, how light it looked, and then look how dark it is when we get it on the paper, right? It's a big difference. Now I'm going to go in to, and we can go right into the middle, and I'm not taking it all the way out, right? And I hope I don't mess up my petals and I get some that are not supposed to be pink, but oh well, right? We'll be okay. Kind of looking at, and I'm just going to squiggle it in there, okay? And look, you can squiggle it in this way. You do not have to be an artist or a pro to do these well, okay? I'm squiggling. I'm doing flicks like you do if you're a Copic colorer, you'll know what I mean. Or I'm just squiggling. Okay, does that make sense? Color the middles, but it doesn't matter. I need my glasses on. But look how easy. Do not be intimidated. Trying to look at also my other one because I don't want to mess up and color a leaf. But at the end of the day, no one knows and no one cares. Wiggles. Wouldn't this be a pretty Mother's Day card or um, birthday card? So many different things. What do you think? No, does anybody else love this as much as I do? Oh my gosh. I know, very light touch. You don't need a lot. And like I said, and these markers, Eileen, like I said, they're like 5 years old. It's crazy. Now, here's what I'm going to do. There's a blender. Did I keep my blender out? Let me see. I did not. Let me, where did I put my markers? Oh, here they are right behind. There's a blender in this set. Get it? Okay. I would get, if you can still get them, buy several of these because these are amazing. And you can use this or you can take a paintbrush. And I used a paintbrush. So let me get that. And I'm going to use a detailed one. And like I said, I did not get I didn't get any of my stuff. This. I'm going to put water. I'm putting water right here. And then you need a paper towel. But watch how easy this is. Okay. Get a clean one. Okay. I'm out of paper towels now. So, wrong end. Get this. Get my little hot dog brush thingy up. Now, here's my water with my brush. Watch. I'm going to take a little bit off, and this is where the Bristol Smooth is nice. And watch. I'm just pulling that ink. I might need a bigger brush than this. Sometimes, you know, when you get started, you got to figure out how much water do you want. I want a different brush is what I want right now because I need to pull this ink. Because it kind of soaked in and dried, it's not moving as much as I want it to. Let me try a different brush and see. Sometimes we have to figure out. It's partly because I let it dry too much and it soaked into the paper. Talking. So let's do this. Let's see if with my blender, we can get it to move. Let's see. Little bit. All I'm doing is squiggling the ends to soften them. Can you see that? It's softening it and pulling some of the color, but not a lot. And I'm just going in circles. That's all I need to do. You need to move a little faster than I did because I got busy talking. And your ink will move a little bit more and you could do a little bit more of the watercolor effect. Once we wet this a little bit more, it'll be easier. And I don't know if you can see the tips now kind of blending just a little bit as I re-wet that ink on the paper. But look, seriously, I'm squiggling. There is no technique to this at all. And I'm just blending that pink out. Yes, especially with this blender brush. This is the blender brush that comes with it. But like I said, if you get these, buy a couple of these blender brushes because, you know, maybe you want one for each color family because the tip will kind of stain just a little bit. Okay, and now we're going to go in with other colors anyway. So we're going to blend out and we're not going to worry too much. So you see that? There is no technique. Look at that. Nothing special about that, but oh my goodness, so pretty. Let's go in now with the middle color. And you know what? Let's go in and add just a few details with the dark one and see how it works if we go in now. So this is, watch this, watch. Always know how much color you're going to put down. That's very vibrant. So we're just going to use a little bit. and then we'll blend, and it's going to be at the base. I use very light touch, and it's going to be at the base of these buds. See that? Look how pretty automatically, but light touch. It takes a little while to figure it out. Here's what else I like about the stamp wheel. Look, I'm going to move it, and don't put your hand back in your ink. I'm moving my stamp wheel to make it easier to get where I need it to go. Okay. Same thing when you're Copic coloring. Move your paper. Don't worry about moving your hand a funny way, right? Trying to figure out how I can, especially since I don't want to put my hand on the paper. Oopsies. Now I'm going to go in. Now I want to show you. Let's see if we can do this better while this is like this, especially because this ink is so saturated. There we go. We see it moving because I've gone in while it's wet, and look how easy it moves. Look at that. And you can pull it. Just if you know anything about watercoloring, we watercolored, actually we watercolor most every year at the craft retreat. And then you can pick some up. If it's a little bit bright, we can kind of pick some up with our paper towel. Wet it, pull it to the end. Pick some up if it's a little dark. Take some water off your brush. Did you see me do that? Kind of, watercoloring basics. But don't get all the way to, don't color the full end of the bud. This one. See how easily that starts moving, and you can soften that? It's more like a true watercolor that way. But how easy is that, right? You can go back in, you can do as much or as little, or pick up some of the pigment, because remember, your towel is like an eraser. Water is an eraser. Okay, yay, Francis. Thank you for joining us. I'm so glad you got to for a little while. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like and make sure you hit the notification button also, Francis, if you haven't done that yet. But we're trying to be monetized again. I used to be monetized, and when we moved, I kind of got out of the habit of doing enough videos, and I didn't realize how hard it was to be monetized all over again. So don't forget to do that, all of you. Please like and subscribe and hit that notification button. Now let's pick the middle color, and now we're going to go in and blend a little bit. This, you might want to dry it just a little bit, or if you want that effect of being able to pull it a little bit more and leave your paper just a little bit wet. Now, I will say, if you are interested in these markers, the colors are not going to go perfectly, 1 to 1 to 1, kind of like Copics do. You have the darker and then you have several shades. They don't quite work that way. So you have to pick, what colors you like together. The other nice thing is the colors will blend. You can blend the colors together perfectly. I almost stuck my paintbrush in my coffee. Oh, don't do that. So let's soften these out. Dry your paper if you need to, if you find it's getting a little wet. And Bristol Strathmore is not watercolor paper, so it will start to eventually kind of, what do you want to call it? Like kind of rub up if it gets too wet, even though it can take a lot of abuse. So keep that in mind. Hey, Ricardo, can you please fill this up with water for me? Here he comes. Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much. Warm water, please. Okay, let's go in again with, I'm thinking, let's do the darkest and see. You can color it right in the middle. Do that, and then just do a little bit of flicks, right? This is where we're doing our little flicks. because you see how much color that's going to put out. And I kind of like my flicks to go the direction that my petals are going. Okay. Look how that is not very pretty like that, but that's okay. Now I'm going to go in with my medium color pink and watch how this blends. I'm going to pull that color out with flicks. Thank you. Almost like you do a Copic marker. While it's still wet, I'm extending that and blending those colors together. I don't know if you can see it, but they do, these markers will blend those colors perfectly. I kind of go on the wet leading edge and blend that. Does that make sense? Does that look pretty? No, but here we go. Let's get some water and see what we can do. And I like to start at the tip and pull the water in so that we aren't pulling the color out. And remember, water's your eraser also. So if you get too much color, you add water to it and then you dab. And see that? That is how saturated these markers are. I mean, it's crazy. So I put some down and then I dab it because I want that real soft light effect. Okay, start at the end. And remember, it's about water control. Touch your brush to your paper towel if you need to. Dab your flower. See that, how I soften it? And it takes some practice, but it's not that much work. I mean, you just saw that. And it doesn't look that pretty, but when it all gets together and you get the middle, it all comes together, right? And it's all the little details, the spatters, the things like that. But the point is, you don't have to be, there's no expert watercoloring here. Okay, does that make sense? All right. You see how that goes? Now, what we'll try with this one, let's go in with the medium pink color and see what we get with this one. Color the middle, pull it out. So you can see it, but it doesn't take much of the ink. Now go back in, take some water off your brush, start at the end and move it to the middle. Take some color off, go back in, take the color off. See how that softens it a lot? That's what we want. And I'm starting at the end of the petal and pulling the color to the middle. And that way I'm not getting too much color at the tips, right? And I like that a little bit better than going directly in with the dark. Let's leave that and we're going to dry it before we go in. And we might even do something a little different. Let's try a different technique in a second. But let's go in. Color in the middle. Maybe we don't add too much at all on this one and we keep it very light. Okay. Take some water. See how I'm going back into that color? That's what the water does without adding color here to the end. And I really think if you are not a true watercolor, this is where I think that the Bristol Strathmore Smooth is so forgiving um, for those of us who are not like pros at watercoloring. It really gives you kind of wiggle room. I think it's because of that coating that they put on. Now, see how this flower is going to be a lot lighter than, let's say, this flower up here. Let's go back in with a little bit of this pink, because you can go into the water and add some color back in there. Okay. Now let's add just a look, squiggles. And I can just go right here and add like one line, and it's going to add some color that we want, right? While that line's wet, I'm kind of just going in. Now go to the tip and pull it together. Can you see that? The little hair that's come out of the brush. I got to get that out. And you see, if you watercolor, you know it looks really ugly before it starts looking better. And that's okay, because eventually, look, layer after layer after layer, you get to this. You do. You do. It takes patience, and it just takes a little bit of work, but it's so worth it in the end. I still think it's a little bit easier than maybe some other, techniques or products that we use. Sometimes if you dab the back of your brush, that takes where the load of the water is, and it helps. And then you still have some on the tip there, and you're not removing the color off the tip. See how I'm just re-wetting that we colored? And then I go in, pull it back. Get a soft pink effect at the end, depending on how much water and color you have. And then it blends those. Okay, see that? There we go. Not pretty, I know. Now, here's another thing that's kind of a do as I say and not as I do. Do I add heat to my sticky mat, my photopolymer mat? Yes, I do. I kind of pull it away before it gets too hot, and then I go back in. If you ruin your mat, don't blame me, because I haven't ruined mine. But can I tell you that they would probably tell you to do this? No. And I try not to give bad advice, so I say, do as I say, not as I do. And I say, don't heat right on your sticky mat. But here I am, right? Because we need to dry this a little. And see, when I'm touching it, it's not too hot. I'm just trying to get that paper dry. Okay. Now, here's what I'm thinking. I mean, there's a part of me that, I'll be honest, it's like, these are the colors I used. And it's like, how did I get from this to this, And I think it was just layers, building those layers. And I almost wish there was another color I could pull in here, but these are the colors I use. So let's stick with it. And then I'm going to show you, and I may not finish this. I want to show you the technique because we're already at an hour and 10 minutes. Because you can see the final product here. Let's go back in with, and I like how this flower is going to be darker. This one's much lighter. See that? We've got different things going on here. I'm going to pull a little bit more here. Maybe make this a little bit more perfect. Small flicks, again, as Eileen said, light touch. Now we're getting, okay, so it's the layers. That's what I did. So what I did was I built the background, right? I built the background up, and then we're going in with the flicks. Now I'm going to add just a little bit. I'm going to color the middle, and it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to cover that up eventually. Little, tiny, soft flicks. Definitely practice if you need to practice your flicking on a sheet of scratch paper. Okay, now I'll soften this again, and then I'll probably go in with the lightest pink. And as you build the color, it is going to move differently, right? And you'll be able to build it up. Too much water, because I forgot to dab it off. Okay, see that? And then we're going to dry it. Okay, you'll dry it again, and you'll go back in with a little bit more layers, and use your lightest pink to blend it. Okay, I'm going to show you just on this one, and then I'll show you the colors that I used, and we'll do the background. Okay, so dry it. Remember, you're going to have fade back. Can you see how much it lightens? And you can also go in with other colors, like a more peachy one, and kind of tone down some of the brighter, if it's bright. Now, see how if I go over it with this pink one, look, it's pulling the color, but it's blending it, and it gives it a really, this is where that's how we did it. It gives it a very soft blended look, and that makes a big difference. Okay. So think about that. You just have to keep working with it till you get the effect that you want. And my paper is wet, so now it's starting to kind of do that little peeling look thing. Might go in with a little bit of color right here. Maybe where there might be shading. Just to give it a little bit of detail. I like that the lighting is subtle. I like how yes, for sure. Now here's where it changes a lot. Like I said, when it dries, and if you look, let's go back to this. And I swear, like, it doesn't look the same at all, but watch what happens. Just adding that little middle in can change it. And coloring the green. Let's color some green and I'll show you. Super simple. I just used this one. This is the pale green. I started with this one. Color your little stems. Color your leaves. And we did the same kind of techniques. Look how easy it is. And that one might be part of that flower. I'm not sure. Sometimes it's hard to tell. right? Now, watch this. And that one's supposed to be a part of it, or is that a leaf? Not sure, but let's color it like a leaf, just for right now. Now, this is how easily they blend. Now I'm going to take that and maybe blend a little bit right here. And you see how you can add that in? And then this is where, if you want to use this blender and not water, look, you can do it. It will blend it together. I'm going to soften it, and I'm just using squiggles. Look how that blends it together. Isn't that fun? And see how now that's like, I know, because adding that green in softens this pink, doesn't it? It really does. So let's go back in and do a little bit more. And you need more than one color. Even if you don't do more than two, you need more than one because you got to get that dramatic kind of effect, right? And if you go in while it's wet, you can still move it. That how it softens it. Pull it. I'm not even worried about getting the tips of the leaves. And it's easier to do because I've left it in this jig, right? Let's see if we can go in and add a little bit of color, because now my paper is a little bit dry. You can even add some dots if you're afraid to do too much color, you know, or maybe your flicking's not good. You can add dots. Okay. Taking my paper. See how much color that adds in? And then pull it back. Okay. So look what a difference the green made, just adding that in. Now, let me a little bit more. And I'm going to go in with the middle pink to pull that bright red out. We'll see if it'll work right here since I just added. There we go. There, see how those flicks really added something? Now let's go in with the lightest pink and blend those out. There we go. Keep working it. See what I said? While it's wet, is when we can get some really good effects. And that's where the flicking can come into play. That one came out really pretty. That one's looking very good. I'm going to pull some of this color back right here on this one and then blend this one. This is where coming in with the water or the blending brush, might help. But those flicks really give it, yes, it's worth it. And look, it's been less than an hour, Eileen, right? It doesn't take that much work. So let's set this aside to dry for a minute. And I'm just going to show you then. So out of that Bristol, that piece I had left, like I said, I'm not even going to pull these extra pieces for what we did today, but I'm going to pull the little middle part, that part out. And let's do the big reveal here. Let's take this out because I want to run this paper through. So we're going to see if we can pull this up away. And it makes a difference when you pull this away too, that you get to see the pretty. See what a difference that makes just pulling that out. Let me grab my little pokey tool and we can go ahead and pull this up. Just be gentle. The nice thing is Bristol Smooth paper is a heavy weight. So, because we stuck it down really well. There we go. Look how pretty. Makes a difference when you pull all that garbly goo away from the back, right? All of a sudden the flowers look much prettier. Look at that. Ooh, much prettier now. I'll be honest, I was getting a little panicked. I thought, why isn't this looking like my other one? So that's why we needed to pull all that junk away. Shoo! Pull all that junk away. And there it already looks prettier, right? So now we're going to use this paper, and this is where we're going to cut the middles out. You get 2, so we need 2 big ones and actually 4 smaller ones. We won't cut them all. I just want to show you how easy it is. Yes, it's much prettier now, right, Eileen? Whew! Telling you, behind the scenes, I was kind of panicking, going, why isn't this looking as pretty as my other one? But we just have to be patient, right? Oops. We just have to be patient. And watch what a difference it makes when we put these middles in. This through one more time. And then I used, maybe it was Francis who asked, I used In the Park for the background. That beautiful soft green in the background is In the Park. Okay, so all I did was, watch how easy this is. I colored these yellow. With the markers. And then I added a little bit of darker yellow. If I had these on the sticky mat, I wouldn't have to hold them down. Nice and vibrant. And a little bit of darker. Okay. And then all we have to do, because we already colored in the middles really dark, watch. Because we already colored in the middle, when we do this, Cooper, trying to pay attention to what Cooper's doing. He can get into mischief, so I have to pay attention to what he's doing. He looks cute and innocent, but not so much. Okay, now if you're adding in the other pieces, it does matter how you put these on your flower. If you're not, then it doesn't matter. And this one's the little one. Look at what a difference that makes. As soon as we pop that, nothing else we did really matters, because whether it was perfect or not, you pop this in and it makes all the difference in the world. And you want that dark middle spot. Isn't that amazing? Look at what a difference that made. Oh my goodness. It's crazy what the little details do. Okay. So that's why don't stress until you get the, look what a difference. And if I want to add more details, I could go in with my markers and add more details, right? Let me put this away before we lose it. And let's talk about ink blending. And let me get a piece of cardstock. I had some a little bit ago. Here we go. Ink blending 101, super simple. Okay, this is my heavyweight cardstock. Put the pin in my glue. All I'm using is In the Park. I'm going to use, oh, I take it back. I'm going to use Bristol Strathmore Smooth because I want to do the water effect, the dribble and lift. So I'm back to some Strathmore Smooth, and let's cut it into an A2 size card base. Five and a half. So let's go 4 1/4. Okay. Why am I using Bristol? Because I want to do the water effect, and regular cardstock sometimes will lift a little bit. Okay. Okay. Let's use In the Park, Catherine Pooler, and get my little blending brush out. And starting off the paper and going on the paper. Now, like I said, Bristol Smooth has a little bit of a coating. So sometimes it takes a little bit more effort to blend ink onto it than maybe a regular cardstock, because it almost has to soak through that kind of clear coating that it must have a little bit. But it's worth it because now we're going to be able to dribble and lift the water. And I'm not going very far in. I actually don't want to go in as far in as I did on my original card. And it's, you know, your ink blend does not have to be perfect on this, but it's also, I find Bristol Smooth is forgiving on ink blending because the ink sits on top of the paper just a little bit longer, and it allows you to get that nice blend. Okay. See that? Nice and easy. Now let's do our spray bottle. Couple of easy squirts so I get bigger drops. Couple of faster squirts so I get smaller droplets. Let it sit for a second. Some people will dry it right on there. I will lift it and let it react for a moment. And then I'm going to lift it. No big deal. Then I dry it. Who's with me? We're going to do the giveaway. Are you ready? Let's go ahead and do it, because I don't even know how many people are on here, and it might not be very many. I'm doing one today, and I will it will be an Alex Syberia product, and I'm thinking the butterflies that we had for the Nashville Craft Retreat this past summer. It's a 4-piece, more than 4-piece, very big A2 size butterfly that's gorgeous. You can do paper piecing with it. Yay, Jennifer's still here. So give me a number between 1 and 20. Type in your number between 1 and 20. And we'll do the old-fashioned ALEXA method where she picks the number for us, okay? And you will get an Alex Syberia stamp or die set from the Nashville Craft Retreat. Oh, there's Priscilla. Priscilla Love. Yay. Oh, aren't they so pretty? And if you already tell me that, oh, there's a lot of people on here that I didn't know were on here. Y'all just were sitting there quietly. Make sure, look at all these people. Where have y'all been not talking to me? The giveaway brings us all out, right? If you have been to the Nashville Craft Retreat and you already have this product that I'm going to give you, I'll email you and let you know, then tell me and I'll send you a different one. And hopefully we have something that you might not already have. Let me clean this off. Everybody put in a number. We might have to do more than 1 to 20. I just assumed, I thought there were less than 10 people on here. I should have looked. A random number. Try not to pick one that someone else has picked. Between 1 and 20. Eileen and Jackie both picked 3. So somebody pick a different number. You're all shy. Hi, Jackie Eastham. Jackie's changing to 2. Pick 1 to 20. Okay. So here's this. Look, batters got the white focal point. Let's cut this die so you can see how pretty this die is also. And I'll show you how this gets put together. This white die I'm just going to cut out of the pretty heavy white cardstock. This is probably the closest to getting a card done while we're all together that I may have ever done. I mean, so once in a while I'll finish one, right? Heavy white, bright white cardstock. Everybody pick your number. Does everybody have their number in? 1 to 20. 1 to 20. You get these little extra doodads off my plates. 1 to 20. Everybody have it in? Tony's the last one. Going once. Going twice. I'm putting my die down on. You know what? I want a bigger piece of paper. Give me a second. I want to do a half sheet. Get that full die because it's almost a full A2 size. So I want to use, instead of a quarter panel, I want a half sheet. Here we go. Tony's the last one. Ready? I don't know if you'll hear this, but Alexa, pick a random number between 1 and 20.
Here's a number between 1 and 20. 13.
13. Who is the closest to 13 without going over? Without going over. Somebody tell me. Somebody look back through, and I'm going to run this die through twice because it's so detailed. Somebody tell me between 1 and 20, who is the closest without going over? And you win the giveaway today. Somebody tell me. Y'all be friendly and figure out who it is. Between 1 and 20, or what was the number? I already forgot. What was the number? Did she say? Somebody tell me. I'm thinking about my project, and so, oh, crafting with Tracy hugs me. Me, says Tracy. Yay, Tracy. Somebody tell me what was the number since I already forgot it. Yay, Tracy. Here's what I want you to do, Tracy. Oh, let's see. Oh, I messed it up when I ran it through twice. Look, that's the problem because I wasn't paying attention. We have to do this again. I know it's amateur hour. Sorry. I can't do 3 things at once, obviously. Let's run this through again. I wasn't as careful when I pulled it back out. Tracy, email me at myprettythings.mpm as in mom, pt@gmail.com. myprettythings.mmt@gmail.com. Give me your address. And if you've ever been to the Nashville Craft Retreat, because sometimes people, you know, their names are different on here than people I know. Let me get another piece of paper. Yay, Tracy. Thank you so much for being on here and playing along. I'm so excited to send you a giveaway. And everybody else who's on, make sure that you follow, that you like and subscribe, and leave a comment on this video, and we'll leave it open for the next, few days. And let's do it. Let's leave this video open until next Wednesday. Through next Wednesday, leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, all that good stuff, and we'll do another giveaway of an Alex Syberia product. Yay, Tracy, I'm so excited. Thank you. Y'all, it's amateur hour. I ran this through without the die on it. Too many things thinking about. Here we go. Try this again. Here we go. Take 3. Here we go. Ready? I was so excited about, Tracy winning. Okay, are we ready? I know, Eileen, but like amateur hour, right? Now I'm going to hold this carefully and hope I don't mess it up. Just because it's such a detailed die, do I think I have to? Maybe not, but I'm going to run it through one more time just to be sure, because it's actually a lot sturdier than you think when you get it out of the die, but still, we want to make sure we get all the bits and pieces done, right? Can I just say again, look how much prettier it is when we pull all that mess away, right? I know, Jackie, sorry, amateur hour. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Here we go. Look. I did it again. 4th time. I'm not running it through twice. Not running it through. I swear the first one I did, I only ran it through. I did not mess it up. We're going to try this again. Jackie, tell him I'm not such a mess most of the time. Well, sometimes I am, I know. Okay, we're going to do this again. One more time. I probably need to go get new cardstock. Hold on. No, I have one. Not running this one through twice. I love my Empress, and normally it doesn't fail me, so we won't stress about it. You ready? Cross your fingers and say a prayer. We're only running it through one time. Jackie, I don't know about that. If someone's new, they might be like, who is this yin yang? Okay, are you ready? Ran it through one time, people. One time. Go. And there we go. And look how beautiful this is. Now, you have to pull all the little pieces out. Look, it's coming out perfectly. No problem. And use your little pokey tool. And if you are so inclined, I am not a huge, if you know me and you follow me, not a big fiddly bits person. So if I take the time to paper piece, it better be worth it. And I think this one would be, but I personally am not paper piecing all these. I might pick and choose, right? So look, you see how they all come out? Look how pretty that is. Look how pretty that die is. Oh my goodness. And they're popping out nice and easy. Look, everything's popping out. Look how pretty that is. So very pretty. Look, isn't that gorgeous? I love a good background. And this one has the frame that cuts out, so you can either use it for this or something, maybe not, whatever you want to do. Look how pretty it is. So you put that over the background that we did. Look, 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 look. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. And then you take your flowers, put them right over that, like that. Then you do your sentiment on your vellum. Well, don't do your vellum yet. I did my spattering. And I used for my spattering Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed proof, get that little piece out of it, bleed proof white, and then it won't pick up the color underneath it. because this is the, a water-based dye ink. The color might be picked up, but look at what a difference. Now, granted, this one we didn't take our time and we didn't finish it, but look at what a difference. And maybe you're a spatterer. Tell me, are you a spatterer or not a spatterer? But I tell you, I think the spattering is pretty. And I probably, if I had it to do over again, I would blend this one a little bit more green. I thought I didn't want as much green as this one, but I like the little bit more green, a little bit darker in the middle. No two cards are alike. And that would be covered up with your vellum anyway. But who's a spatterer? Dana loves spattering. Yay. Me too. And look, my flowers didn't need to be perfect. Look how pretty. Look at what a difference it makes. But there's that pretty background dye. So don't forget, and I will contact, look how pretty this would be with something else in the middle. I love it. I will contact Alex. Don't forget, you get, for watching today, a 10% off code, capital letters, Erin_10, and you should get 10% off your order. So be patient. If it's not working, I'll contact Alex and tell her it's not working. And as a thank you for watching today and don't forget the blog hop is going on. Hop along and leave a comment along the way for each of the designers for your chance to win an Alex Syberia gift card. And don't forget, tell your friends to watch the video and leave a comment. If you're not Tracy and you didn't win the giveaway today, leave a comment and your name will go in my drawing for an Alex Syberia. Also, final plug, if you have never been to the Nashville Craft Retreat, let's see if I can get my face on here. The Nashville Craft Retreat registration's open for 2026. We have a few more seats left. We're almost sold out. So go to the website, NashvilleCraftRetreat.com, for all of the details. It's the big event we have every year. It is so much fun, so much fun. Thank you. It is Kim. Oh, that's Kim. Hi, Kim. Jackie's been before. Kim is always there. Eileen's coming next year. So Tony's there every year. Tony's not going to miss it. So join us. I would love for you to join us. We have people from all over the country. Jackie's from Washington. We have people from California. We have a big group now that comes from California, Arizona, have people from Canada. People come from all over the country, and it is so much fun. It is Wednesday through Saturday evening, and we keep you busy, and you get hundreds of dollars worth of swag, and we feed you lunch. It's such a good time. So if you have not registered, there is a link there in the description where all the garbly goop is. The supplies list for today is there. Don't forget my code, that's there. And all of the links to my store and my websites are all there. So don't forget to give me a thumbs up, click to be notified, and I'll see you probably next Thursday. Normally I go live at 8 p.m. on Thursday evenings, but I really wanted to share gorgeous new Alex Syberia release. We love Alex. She's amazing. I know, Jackie. So we would love for you to be here, but I totally understand why we don't see you every year. We've seen you, what, twice? And this year, 2026, will be 5 years, the 5th year. I'm so excited. So we have a lot of people who've been every single year, and there will be a celebration for them. So thank you so much for joining me. I have lots of fun when we get together and craft. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see y'all later. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.